Welcome to Burns White, Inside the Law, a podcast about the law and the people behind the practice. I'm your host, Ahsan Jafry. Okay, welcome back Inside the Law. We are here today with Dave Johnson, a partner in our Pittsburgh office. Dave, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
You a Dave, David, Davey?
Most people call me Dave.
Okay, right. And what do your best friends call you?
My wife calls me Dave Johnson.
That's Mary Beth, right?
That's Mary Beth.
We'll talk more about her later.
Okay.
How you doing?
Doing well.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
So, Dave, why don't you start by telling us, what we'd like to do is kind of get people to know you a little bit more. I mean, I know you, but not a lot of people in the firm know you as well. But people outside the firm, just give us a little bit about, like, your background. Like, let's start from, like, where you came from, and then get into, like, your path to law and your path to Burns White.
Sure. I'm a small town boy. Grew up in a little town called Kane.
Okay.
In northern Pennsylvania. It was a town of 4,000 people.
Okay.
Great place to grow up.
Why do you say that?
Oh, it was great. You could be a real person in a small town. As high school, I was working for a newspaper in town and in other towns, and working on the radio station, and just had a great time.
Okay, wait, let's back up for a second. So, Kane, Pennsylvania. Where is that exactly?
It's up in McKean County, about 100 miles north of here.
Okay, it's interesting that, especially in the Pittsburgh office, a lot of lawyers that I meet here come from towns like that in Pennsylvania. Has been your experience?
Well, it's the big city, and little town boys come to the big city and stay here.
Yeah, but what I found personally, I'm not from Pennsylvania. I'm from New Jersey, which
Sure.
We don't have a lot of towns like Kane, Pennsylvania, in New Jersey. But what I found here in Pittsburgh and throughout our firm, it's like a lot of people have those kind of values that I think is real fabric of Burns White. Like, how do you?
Oh, I think that's really true. I mean, I think there's a lot of value in a small town, and people end up with responsibility and a lot of personal pride in what they do, and that goes well for being a lawyer.
Yeah, and I mean, like, what I found in dealing with a lot of my partners and friends at Burns White is, like, their reputation matters. When they deal with people, the way they deal with people matters, right? Like, it's just kind of like...
It always matters.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it
does. But what I mean is that, like, it's like that sense of communication with people and valuing them. It's kind of like the fabric of what I've seen in a lot of Burns White lawyers. I think some of it comes from the fact that they're used to that in growing up in smaller towns in Pennsylvania.
I think integrity is as important as anything that there is.
Yeah, and it's kind of a lost thing now, I think.
It can be. Very true.
Well, it's good to have that. It's good to meet people like you and a lot of lawyers in Burns White that have that kind of commitment to integrity and just treating people the right way.
It's important, and it's so important in the legal community. I mean, if somebody as a lawyer can't be trusted, if they aren't being credible, it's a really bad thing.
Yeah.
And it's one of the real hallmarks of being a good lawyer, I think.
And thankfully, most of the lawyers here fall in that category of
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, so you went from Kane, Pennsylvania to, where did you go to college?
Dickinson College,
okay.
small college in central Pennsylvania.
What did you study in Dickinson College?
Political science.
Okay, so you were like on the path to law.
Always, yeah. I was always going to be a lawyer.
Yeah, and just, one thing I noticed in your office, you have a lot of photographs everywhere. Is that something that you developed, like, in college, or, like, did you...
I started taking pictures in high school.
I'm talking real, just for the audience. I mean, we're talking about real photographs. Like, if you walk into his office, like, it's just, like, professional photography everywhere.
I'm one of those nerds that goes on vacation with a great big camera and some extra lenses and everything like that, and then I take about 1,000 pictures every couple days. So.
And we're talking real places, just so people understand. It's not, I mean, like, where'd you go this year? Tokyo, I think you said?
We were in Japan, and then we were in the Baltic. So.
The Baltics, yeah. And you have great pictures from everywhere, I guess, right?
It was the cherry blossom season in Kyoto, Japan.
Okay.
And great pictures.
Yeah, I saw some of those pictures that you had, right? Yeah. If everybody's ever in the Burns White office and here in Pittsburgh, just stop by his office if you want a good view of some great photography and great scenes from around the world. How did you develop that habit?
I just started in high school, and it was something I enjoyed doing.
In Kane,
And,
Pennsylvania?
Up
So
in
were you
Kane,
the township
and,
photographer?
No, I took some pictures for the paper.
There you go.
and,
I knew it. I knew it.
For the high school. And,
In the high school, right?
Yeah.
Right. And your stuff got published, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were often in the paper.
It's probably a little different though. Those photographs that you took then compared to now. Like
Oh, it's
developing
completely
them.
different. I mean, back in that day, you had a roll of 12 pictures that had to be developed, and
People, no one knows what you're talking about. Developing
yeah,
pictures.
yeah, I
You know,
mean,
just so you know, like,
you would
I know what you're saying, but
take
like,
12 pictures, and that was a roll of film that you had to buy.
right, yeah.
And now, I mean, you can shoot 12 pictures in 10 seconds.
Did you have like a dark room or something? Like,
I did a little darkroom work when I was
okay.
in high school.
Yeah, and people just don't know what that is.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, it's interesting. Like I mean,
Well,
some of the-
we were talking earlier, and even if you transpose that into the law, it makes so much difference because, I mean, back at that time, somebody would take a photograph and it would be a photograph.
right.
And it would be whatever the camera captured
Uh-huh.
would basically be what there was. I mean, maybe in developing it, you could change the shadows a little bit,
Sure, sure.
or the coloration, or the lightness. But now, with digital photography, you can completely alter the picture, and it's very, very difficult to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, in a matter of a minute, with programming that is inexpensive on your computer, I could switch our heads, and my head would be on your suit, and your head would be on mine.
Yeah, that'd be a great
And-
picture, I think.
And most people would know the difference.
Right. I think we have to add that as a picture to the video version of this podcast.
So if you look at it from a piece of evidence, I mean,
Yeah.
it used to be a photo was a photo, but now who knows what a photo is?
Yeah. And we'll talk more about that when we get into what you do and like as far
Yeah.
as your trial practice and stuff like that. But so you went to Dickinson College, and then where'd you go to law school?
I went to law school at Duquesne here in Pittsburgh.
Okay. And why did you choose Duquesne?
It was a good school and a good town, and
And you've been here
good
ever
place to go
since.
to. And I've been in Pittsburgh ever since. Yeah.
When did you come to Burns White?
Came to Burns White in 2018.
Okay, well, describe like your practice. Like I said, after you graduated from law school, where did you work? And let's get it.
Sure, I went to work for Rabe F. Marsh III, who was a federal district judge here in western Pennsylvania. And Judge Marsh at the time was a senior judge. It was a great opportunity for a lawyer because he was a judge who, anytime he was in the courtroom, his law clerks were in the courtroom. So you got to see a lot of trials and a lot of lawyers. And one who particularly impressed me was a lawyer by the name of Dave Rhodes, who tried 2 or 3 cases in front of us and was well respected by my judge. And I ended up going to work for Dave Rhodes.
Okay. Yeah.
And started out with the firm of Thompson, Rhodes and Cowie in 1979. And then 4 years later, he and one of the other senior partners decided to start another firm. So 9 of us left there and started Thompson, Rhodes and Cowie,
Okay.
where I worked for the next 30 years.
Oh, so
before
you're
coming to Burns White.
pretty stable place then. You for 30 years, I guess you were kind of in the same group of people. I guess.
Yeah, I was with the same group of people for actually, I guess almost 40 years before I came to Burns White.
Okay. And how did you come to Burns White?
It was actually sort of serendipitous in a way. I was thinking about different opportunities and, what I might want to do. And I came to a community meeting that was held right here in this room.
At the Burns White Center.
At the Burns White Center for the strip lot, or the strip district community. Because I live just down the street.
I know that. I do know that.
And there was a community meeting here, and I got to talking to Dave White, who I'd known for years and practiced with and knew very well. And, one thing led to a next. We had a couple more conversations, and here I am.
Well, Jennifer Kelly's smiling right now because that's like the goal of this building and this to have those kind of meetings with the community.
Absolutely.
Because it creates opportunities like this.
Yeah.
You know, and now here you are. Like,
Here I am.
Here you are, right? How do you like it here?
Oh, it's great. I mean, we brought our whole team over, and over the years, it has expanded. It's larger now. All of our clients came with us, and we have some new clients, and it's been a great opportunity, you know, for us, for the other people on my team, and I think we provide excellent service to our clients.
I know you do. I know you do. And just for the audience, if you could describe what your practice area is.
Well, right now, and probably for the last 20 years, I predominantly defend hospitals and doctors in malpractice cases.
Okay.
But
I know a thing or two about that.
My whole career, I've been a defense lawyer.
Okay.
I mean, I started out at a small defense firm, and then I sort of morphed into defending asbestos defendants.
Okay. Right.
And that was a great experience for a young trial lawyer, because those cases went to trial back at that time, and I got a lot of experience.
And this is, we're talking what years, like the.
This would have been in the 1980s predominantly.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And I was part of a national trial team, and it's particularly interesting when you think about in most of the cases we work on, there's years and years of preparation of the cases, and you really get to know a case and develop it very well. But back in that day, with so many asbestos cases trying, we had one client that decided they would try every case that came up in the country. So we would get a brand new file, say on Wednesday, and be flying to maybe Texas to start a trial on Monday morning. Then we'd try that case, and then 2 weeks later we'd be in Alabama trying a case.
That's a lot of travel.
So it was a lot of travel for about a year, but
Yeah.
it was great trial experience.
That's good. Yeah, you're on your feet a lot, I guess, that year.
Sure,
Do you
yeah.
know how many cases you tried that year?
I don't know that year. Overall, I think I'm at about 130 or 140 jury trials now.
Oh, I mean, in 4 years?
Over my whole career.
Oh, wow, that's a
Yeah.
good clip of trials there.
A lot of trials.
Yeah. So like, it's interesting because like how trials have changed so much. You know, like in the 80s between now. What have you noticed to be like the biggest difference between fine cases?
Well,
now?
the technology is so different.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be that you would get a big blow up of your exhibits.
Sure.
And it certainly limited the number of exhibits you could have, because you'd have to send it off to a print shop, and they'd make you a blow up about, you know, that big that,
Right.
that the jury could see.
God forbid there's a typo on it.
Yeah,
It's
you wouldn't
like-
want that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I remember we actually decided to find something that saved a little money, in that instead of getting it on poster board, you could just get the paper print, and we had a plastic overlay that
Like an Elmo or
you
something?
could put it in.
Is it like
the
Elmo projector?
Elmo, that was actually the next step.
Oh, really? Okay.
Where you had the Elmos that you could project.
Yeah, we're not talking about
yourself,
Sesame
like,
Street Elmo. We're talking
one-
about the
one-
not-
one page at a time.
Those things where you would put it
And,
on and like you would lay it like
Yeah.
you have to you have to have a certain type of paper, I guess, right? And like it would be a transparent paper, and you would put it on the Elmo and it projected onto the
project, yeah.
yeah. Right.
But I mean, now the technology is such that, and I think jurors expect it, that it can be a production, particularly, you know, in the medical malpractice cases that we handle with medical records and, you know, exhibits and things of that nature. We have a service that projects it
Sure, right,
in the
yeah.
background.
Yeah,
with,
we have
big
we have,
screens for
we
the
have
jurors to see.
software like Trial Director and things like
Sure.
that, and like where
Yeah.
we zoom into documents and highlight, and I know, right? I'm sure you're doing
Yeah.
all that, right?
It's a whole different world.
whole different world, and it's something that kind of evolves gradually, but quickly, right?
There's been a lot of changes over the years.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And look at you,
Still here.
still doing it, adapting.
Still doing
doing
it,
a great
yeah.
job doing it.
Yeah.
What else? Let me see. So, like, as far as your practice is concerned, is it almost exclusively medical malpractice now, or do you know other types of law too?
I defend are in the area of medical malpractice. I have some clients, a small percentage, that are not actually medical malpractice, but they may be general liability cases, a fair number of cases involving claims of sexual assault, different types of things. So it's not all malpractice, but it's all litigation. That's all I've ever done.
And can you describe your team for us as far as who works with you?
Sure. I have a partner of mine, Dan Marganeri. Dan and I have practiced together for 15 years now.
Okay.
He was one of the lawyers that came over from Thompson, Rhodes and Cowie, which was the predecessor firm.
Did Dan join you as an associate, or was he?
No, he was a partner when he came in.
Okay.
And we have 3 associates who work for us, and a paralegal. And my legal assistant has been with me over 35 years.
Okay, yeah.
So she sort of runs the operation.
Yeah, she runs you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you mentioned your wife earlier. How long have you been married?
It'll be 50 years in January.
Okay, good. Congratulations. That's a big milestone. Mary Beth, right?
Mary Beth.
I've heard a lot about her from other partners in the office. You know,
they got to know her quickly.
Yeah, yeah. She's a cherished person.
She is indeed.
Yeah. And where did you guys first meet?
We met at Dickinson College.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys went to college together?
We were in political science class together.
Oh my gosh.
From there,
look at you.
There it all happened.
You know how to pick them, I guess, right?
I do.
And when did you get married? Were you like in college, law school? Or?
I was in law school at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mentioned earlier to you, all of the court reporters in Western Pennsylvania know me as Mary Beth's husband.
Okay.
Because she taught court reporting for over 40 years.
Oh, right.
And so most of the court reporters were educated by Mary Beth.
Okay. Yeah, so like you get the transfers pretty quickly then, I guess.
They treat me well.
Yeah, they treat you well, right?
As long as I talk slowly.
That's like every court reporter hates me because I don't talk slowly.
Oh, that's a bad thing.
Yeah. All right, so I have a few trivia questions. Do you mind if we?
We can try.
We can try.
Try.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Try. All right. So I have a few rule of evidence questions since you're like a.
Oh, that's
trial.
Now you're challenging me.
Okay, let's see what I got. This rule of evidence, it says to prove the content of a writing, recording, or photograph, the original is required unless a rule or statute provides otherwise.
Might that be the best evidence rule?
Yeah, I brought that up because we were talking about the photography stuff earlier. I mean, it's interesting. I haven't seen a challenge on that in a long time.
Haven't talked about it in a long time.
Yeah, because that's why I brought that up, because of the discussion we're having about how your photography and how things have changed so much in technology.
Well, that's one of the areas, but another area that comes to mind is what is the medical record?
Right. Yeah.
And
the handwritten record is kind of a thing of the past.
And that can be very challenging too, because it used to be the medical record was a piece of paper.
Sure, right, yeah.
So you might have a photocopy of it, but it was the medical record.
Yeah.
But now the medical record is an electronic medical record.
Sure.
And it all depends on how it is printed out.
Yeah.
Or what buttons are pressed, or what fields are requested.
That's the bane of our existence, right? When you have it's printed on one side and like part of it's on another page. They're not designed for that print, right? Like
or you get into trial and you find that the plaintiff's attorney has one version, and you have another version, and they're not the same.
Yeah, just because of the way they printed it.
The way they printed it,
right, yeah.
So it can be very confusing.
Yeah. And like, and how do you handle that usually? Like,
well, it depends on the lawyer. It depends on the issue, and it depends when the problem comes up.
Right. Yeah.
One of the things that I see a lot of people doing these days is early on in the case, everybody exchanges their records.
Yeah.
And one of the things that accomplishes is to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Sure, right.
and have your own records.
Yeah.
It's a lot better than a situation I recall from a trial deposition a number of years ago, where I'm examining a witness with regard to a record, and the plaintiff's attorney said, well, that's not in the record, doesn't say that. Well, certainly it does. Well, we looked at each other's records, and my record it did say, his record it didn't say. So we had a little squabble over that one.
Yeah, and I thought you were going to go in the direction of EMR and audit trails, and that kind of thing, because that's like a big topic too with regard to.
Well, it is, and what audit trails are for the audience is this is an underlying computer program in the background that records whenever anybody makes a change to the medical records, and it's not as if you're changing the records, but when we go into our computers, you type a sentence and you have a typo and you change something, or you think, well, I want to structure that sentence differently, and I change it. Well, every time a healthcare provider does that, it's recorded.
Yeah.
And so then you get into litigation and somebody asks for that, and the question is, why did you make this change?
Right.
Or why didn't you make this change?
Yeah.
And it becomes a big sideshow lots of times.
Yeah, and also like there's so much information that comes out of these audit trails, right? Because it has like anybody who logged in to view the record, you can see, and like the timing of things of when they're entering the record, that kind of thing, right? Like that.
And it often turns out that it's a darned if you do, darned if you don't situation. I mean, if somebody looks at the medical record and they find that they made a mistake and they change it, they're subject to being criticized later if something has gone wrong in the case by the opposition's attorney saying, you just changed that because you knew it was wrong, didn't you?
Yeah.
Or because you did this, or because you were afraid of litigation. On the other hand, if they look at it and say, I made a mistake, but I better not change that or it'll look like I'm changing it, then the other side will say, well, you knew you could have changed that, so if that really was wrong, you could have changed it and you didn't bother to change it.
Right, yeah.
So there's not an easy answer.
Yeah.
But it becomes very difficult lots of times and very confusing.
Yeah, well, that's why I always tell people honesty is always the best way to go, right? Like if you act with honesty and integrity, you can always defend that.
That trumps everything.
Yeah, we can always defend that. Like if you're trying to switch stuff around, it's almost a lot of times that action and trying to switch something or change something that makes it way worse than the whatever negligent action you could have done in the case.
Back to integrity.
Yeah.
Very important.
Right, yeah. All right, next question. It's a standard that says that scientific evidence is admissible only if the underlying principle or technique has gained general acceptance in the relevant scientific community.
We must be talking about the Fry standard for expert testimony.
Yeah, is that the standard in Pennsylvania?
It's a standard in Pennsylvania, but the reality is, in most cases, if someone has the educational experience and the qualifications in the particular field, and they have an opinion that goes along with it, most of the time the judges are going to let that person render the opinion. And, we see that in the medical cases all of the time, because one doctor who may be a very well-known and very well-credentialed obstetrician will say, it was totally wrong to do whatever the doctor did. And another doctor will say, not at all, that met the standard of care. And it really becomes a situation where in almost every case we have, you have one doctor on one side saying one thing, one doctor on the other side saying something else, and ultimately it becomes a question for the jury to decide who they're going to believe.
Right, it's a credibility determination, basically.
Absolutely, sure.
Now, and under the Fry standard, are they required, if somebody, like let's just say a doctor comes up with some opinion that he says is generally acceptable in the scientific community, does he have to cite any objective sources to support that?
Not generally.
Not generally, right?
That's very
That's the
seldom.
difference between that and
That's
others,
very
right?
seldom the case, and the Fry standard actually has been pretty well dummied down actually by the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, such that really it's only about methodology at the present time.
Okay.
So if you're not talking about the methodology being used by an expert, and you're just talking about the expert's opinions, they're pretty much open to expressing them.
Okay. But then again, I mean, there is cross-examination though, right? If somebody comes up with some kind of crackpot theory that comes in, you know, that's when we make our money, I guess.
Cross-examination is very important, and you know, what supports this and what doesn't, and does the underlying evidence support the opinion?
Right.
That often becomes important.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next question, and this is a little bit more of a fun question. I've done famous like I had Elizabeth Stefanski on the show, and I asked her about famous Elizabeths. But your name, Dave Johnson, is a very common name. So we're going to go famous Dave Johnsons.
Okay, there we go.
All right. So this famous David Johnson, he played second base for in Major League Baseball. He played second base for a team, and he also was the manager for a team that won the World Series in 1986. Can you name both teams?
Both teams. It was he played for the Baltimore Orioles for many years, and he was
you're gonna know that. I know, like it's
a long-time manager of the New York Mets.
He was, sir. Yeah.
In fact, I almost ended up with his suit one time.
All right.
I had bought a suit.
This I did not know. I honestly did not know this. So I figured you would know who Dave Johnson is because of the name. But this is interesting. I gotta hear
I had bought a suit at a men's store in New York City.
Okay.
And I was in New York for a few days, and they altered it at the time. And I went in to pick up the suit, and they almost gave me the wrong suit because it was Davy Johnson's suit.
That's interesting, because you would think there'd be more than two David Johnsons in the city of New York. You know, that's like really interesting. Like,
I guess we just each needed a suit at the same time at the same store.
Yeah, maybe around the same size too. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know what size he was.
How did you find out that it wasn't your suit?
I remember there were two salesmen, and the one person realized that I was the wrong guy to be picking up that suit. So I got my suit.
Okay. All right. Do you know what year that was?
Oh, many years ago.
Many years ago? It might have been like, what he wore to the World Series Award Center or something.
You never know. You never know.
All right, one more Dave Johnson question.
Okay.
This famous David Johnson is a local Pittsburgh newscaster for what channel?
David Johnson on Channel 11 for many, many years.
Is he still on the air?
Just retired, I think.
Just retired, huh?
Fairly recently.
I think the other Dave Johnson passed away, right?
The Davy Johnson baseball player died
recently, I think.
Within the last month.
Okay, yeah. All right, last trivia question. If a doctor tells a patient, I made a mistake during your surgery, what rule of evidence will allow that to be admissible?
Potentially it comes in as an admission. If I admit I did something, it comes in. Although there's...
Admission of a party opponent?
Admission of a party opponent.
Could you describe that rule for us?
It's if I admit to you that I did something and you're on the other side, you can say what I said.
Right, yeah.
But there's kind of an asterisk on that in the medical world, in that if, for example, I were to put it in the form of an apology to you, then the law protects that and doesn't let it come in if it's in the form of an apology. And part of that is that, if something goes bad, you don't want to put a doctor in a position of not being able to express empathy to a patient because it's not a perfect world and things can happen at times. And so in that instance, if it's truly an apology, the law shields it and doesn't permit a patient to talk about it. On the other hand, if somebody just says, I did this wrong and it was absolutely wrong, it potentially comes in as an admission.
Yeah.
So you also always have to be careful what you say too.
Yeah. That's like, and someone who also practices medical malpractice defense, I can tell you that my experience is that the people who feel, doctors and all medical providers are in it for a reason. They're in it because they care about people, right? So it's good that we have rules out there that allows them to keep that empathy even in situations where there's a negative outcome.
And I don't think the public really understands or realizes how traumatic it is to a physician to be a defendant in a lawsuit. I mean, it's a really troubling and maybe a life-altering experience for a doctor to be a defendant in a lawsuit. And, that's one of the reasons that doing what we do, we try and provide them with the best defense we can, because many times there's not a real basis for the lawsuit. I mean, bad things can happen to patients, and it may not be because the doctor did anything wrong. It may simply because bad things happen. And lots of times there's a perception on the part of a patient that, because something happened, I have a good basis for a lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
And more often than not, that's not the case. And part of our job as lawyers is to be able to present that in a way that people understand that even if a doctor's doing everything right and doing his best and performing in the way a doctor should perform, consistent with the standard of care, bad things still can happen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we try and explain that as best we can.
Yeah. And we also do it in a way that makes the doctor feel supported too, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
sure.
Or the other medical provider. All right, well, I think we're winding down. Let's end with this. You've been a trial lawyer for a long time, and you have a few good years left in you. How do you feel as far as just how things are going in that area of the law, like trial practice and just in general,
Well, for better or worse, there's not many cases that are being tried anymore. Most of the cases end up either settling or resolving by way of mediation,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have as many trials. And one of the challenges that presents for you and me and our law firms and younger people are that younger lawyers aren't getting an opportunity to try cases, and we're not developing lawyers as much as we have in the past. And I think that's a real challenge. And also, it's a situation that money's being paid, I think, on cases where there really is a good defense
Mm-hmm.
to the medical malpractice case, but the risks are so high because some jury verdicts are
the nuclear
so
verdict.
very high.
Yeah. The nuclear
that
verdict is like the
cases
term.
settle
Right.
even if there's a good defense to them.
Yeah, because
So
nowadays you hear about
it's a big
nuclear-
challenge.
Nowadays you hear about nuclear verdicts, I guess.
You do indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. The thing is about, at least at our firm, you have Dan with you, and there's a lot of partners that are situated where, for like myself included, where we've had a chance to try cases early on in our career, and I think we have a good stable crop of lawyers that are situated for the next 20, 30 years, where we have that that ability to take a case to court.
I think Dan and his colleagues will be trying cases for a long time after me, and they've had a good beginning on it.
Yeah, and it's because of the fact that you've invested time with them, I guess.
Absolutely, sure,
in the last
yeah.
15 years or so. And I've had mentors myself that have helped me out, that have put me in a position now where, and then across Burns White, you'll see a lot of lawyers who are, have another 15, 20, 30 years left in their careers that are pretty established trial lawyers.
And I think that's one of the big attributes of our firm, is that if you go from practice area to practice area, you find lawyers who have a tremendous amount of experience, who have tried cases and know what to do in a courtroom, and have really done the very best you can for a client.
And we have, I guess, we have that in our stable of our team, and we have that going forward, I guess, for the next foreseeable future.
As far as we can tell, absolutely.
Okay, all right, Dave. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
The information contained in this podcast is considered an outline intended to be supplemented by an attorney. The information is not legal advice and should not be considered as such. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions or comments regarding this episode, feel free to email us at podcast@burnswhite.com.